Undoubtedly, my entire life seems to unfold as a disturbing and scary tale. From my earliest memories, my mother and grandmother enveloped me in an atmosphere of extreme protection, effectively restricting my every move. As a child, I was forbidden from visiting friends or family, strolling down the street, or venturing outdoors by myself. I wasn't even allowed to cook or drive. The constraints only intensified with age. By the time I reached 19, my mother forbade me from having a job, claiming that everything I needed was right there with her and I didn't require money. Feeling suffocated, I reached a breaking point. I started squirreling away money earned from odd jobs, laundry duties, and finding change around the house. Hiding it became an art form as my mother insisted that any money was solely hers. One day, determined to break free, I packed my bags. However, my escape attempt was thwarted as my mother, with the assistance of my grandmother, physically restrained me, reported my phone stolen, and confiscated it to prevent me from making calls. She even resorted to sleeping beside my bed to ensure I couldn't sneak away in the dead of night. A particularly harrowing episode unfolded when she took me to a church meeting, a holiness congregation, where they sought to bless the demons out of me for a relentless 3-hour session. Her influence over the community was such that nobody offered assistance, as she had managed to convince them all that I was mentally unstable and required help. In a subsequent attempt to escape, she enlisted a cousin to deceive me into the car, employing the child safety lock to prevent my exit. A year of isolation followed, with relatives strategically parking their cars in the driveway to block any potential escape routes. Over time, however, I managed to regain my mother's trust, regain access to my phone, and reconnect with a guy she deemed the devil. Despite her relentless efforts to sever communication, he promised to help me break free. The challenge lay in the fact that my mother adamantly refused to let me obtain any form of identification, fearing I would use it to leave her. Contacting the police proved futile, as she had convinced them that she had legal custody and that I was mentally unstable. With the help of this supportive acquaintance and a trustworthy cousin, we secretly accumulated funds and orchestrated my escape, culminating in a surreptitious taxi ride from a grocery store. We flew to Idaho, where his family graciously extended their assistance, teaching me how to drive and live independently. Since that liberating day, I have not looked back. However, the story doesn't end there. The daily barrage of calls, messages, and texts from my mother persists, each one claiming that I am responsible for their supposed imminent demise. Ironically, I've seen images of her, and it appears she is withered away, a mere skeleton of her former self. To add another layer of distress, I discovered later that she had covertly accessed nearly every online account I had created, stalking me for years, sometimes impersonating me. Her attempts to breach my PayPal account, thwarted by security measures, only serve as a chilling reminder of the lengths she is willing to go to maintain control. Let's dig deeper into the unsettling story that happened to my cousin's family. Living in their house for 5 quiet years, they had no inkling of the creepy situation unfolding behind closed doors. One regular morning, my cousin's wife, in the rush to drop off their baby at daycare before work, left her phone at home. Realizing this, she had to swing back to grab it. Little did she know, the simple act would uncover a disturbing secret. As she entered the house, she spotted something off. The drop-down attic ladder was fully extended. They never really used the attic, and my cousin had already left for work. It sent a shiver down her spine. Not wanting to risk anything, she quietly left, drove around, and called the police. Their investigation revealed a hidden surveillance setup, a short-range transmitter connected to cameras strategically placed throughout the house. From the light fixture in the shower to a tiny hole in the nursery, every corner seemed invaded. The culprit? A neighbor just a few houses away. Given a key by the previous owners, he exploited their trust to install surveillance gear, turning their private spaces into his personal reality show. The violation wasn't a one-time thing, it had been ongoing for years. The climax came when my cousin's wife accidentally stumbled upon the neighbor updating his spy equipment. He hastily left to fetch something from his house, unknowingly leaving behind a trail of discomfort and betrayal. The revelation that their neighbor had been watching their every move for years sent shockwaves through their sense of security. This unsettling incident left scars, a stark reminder that even in the supposed safety of our homes, the boundaries of privacy can be breached. The aftermath, marked by lingering unease and a sense of betrayal, highlights the chilling reality that, behind closed doors, our lives might not be as private as we think. In my teen years, a weekend home alone became a strange memory that still makes me question what really happened. It all started with a simple decision: crashing in my parents' room because they had a TV. Around 2 a.m., an odd feeling crept up on me, like someone was watching. I glanced towards the dimly lit hallway, prompted by a prickling on the back of my neck. There, I saw something that's hard to explain: a shadowy figure, a dark shape resembling a person. The glow from the TV gave it form, casting an eerie vibe in the room. The silence hung thick as we locked eyes in a quiet standoff. The TV's weak light outlined the shadow, and fear gripped me. I sat up, heart racing, facing something unexplainable in the silent night. We stayed like that, a few feet apart, for what felt like a long time. The shadow person, featureless and strange, emitted an uncanny energy. Then, without warning, it turned and glided down the hall. Its footsteps, strangely quiet, left me in a sort of frozen shock. Suddenly, a loud crash shattered the silence, snapping me out of my trance. Panic set in, an unexplainable fear that made me reach for the remote. I desperately flipped the channel to Disney, hoping for some comfort. Wide awake, I kept watch over the dancing characters, fearing the return of the mysterious figure that had disrupted my peace. The night dragged on, shadows playing tricks on my already jittery nerves. With the first light of dawn, I gathered the courage to venture down the once menacing hallway. There, I saw the aftermath: a shattered mirror on the floor. The broken glass hinted at a disturbance that I couldn't quite understand. Despite my attempts to share this strange experience with my family, they remained skeptical. Their disbelief became a heavy weight, a silent acknowledgement of the weird solitude of that night. I, however, bear the memory, a story that won't fade, forever etched in my mind. Let's rewind the clock about a decade to a family vacation that etched itself into the tapestry of my memories. The journey took us from the sun-soaked expanses of South Texas to an obscure little town in Missouri. The exact name of the town has faded away in the sands of time, but what remains vivid is the eerie incident that unfolded late one night. Our familial entourage consisted of my 2 younger sisters, my parents, and, of course, yours truly. We rolled into town around 1 a.m., weary from the lengthy drive. The hunger pangs of the road had gripped most of the family, prompting a quest for an open McDonald's. However, my fatigue had me yearning for the solace of my aunt and uncle's house, eager to escape the chaos of a late-night fast food frenzy. As the plan for a McDonald's run brewed, my mom declared that one of my sisters would be joining me in choosing the tranquility of the house over the bustling late-night food adventure. Settling down in the living room, I found myself in a daze as the television flickered in the dim room. The weariness of the road pulled me towards the realms of slumber, but destiny had something else in store. Amidst the faint hum of the television, the echo of pitter-patter danced down the hallway. My initial assumption was that my sister, fueled by a steady stream of sugary snacks throughout the drive, was playfully frolicking around. Engrossed in my own world, I let the sounds weave into the background of my consciousness. It was at this moment that my phone stirred to life, a call from my mom piercing through the quiet. She inquired about my culinary preferences for the night, the hum of both my sisters squabbling audible in the background. Everything seemed normal until a giggle, distinctly originating from somewhere behind me, disrupted the stillness of the room. Startled, I stood up and scanned the room, but there was nothing to be found. The unsettling feeling of someone's unseen presence lingered. Perturbed, I asked my mom whether my sister had eventually joined the late-night food quest. Her confirmation sent a chill down my spine. Determined to unravel the mystery, I positioned myself in the corner of the room, a silent sentinel awaiting the return of the McDonald's expedition. The minutes crawled by until the familiar sounds of the family's return echoed through the house. Yet, the enigmatic giggle and the phantom pitter-patter left a lingering unease, turning a seemingly ordinary family vacation into a tale that still raises the hairs on my neck when recounted. And for the final story of the video, let me take you on an extended journey through the tale of the scariest camping escapade this girl has ever lived through. It all unfolded in the wild landscapes of eastern Oregon, where I was paying a visit to my mom, who calls the western part of the state her home. The summer sun was blazing, and with my mom's love for the great outdoors, we decided to embark on a little adventure, a 1-hour drive from her city to the coastal haven. We find ourselves perched on the top of a hill surrounded by the colossal foothills of the coastal mountains. It's a scenic spot about a 25-minute drive from the pinnacle of the hill where our campsite nestles down to the bustling main road at the bottom. The panoramic views were breathtaking, and the serenity of being the sole campers in this vast wilderness added a touch of magic to the air. Our day unfolded lazily, filled with the simple pleasures of camping, leisurely relaxation, preparing food, and basking in the natural beauty around us. The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky with hues of orange and pink. That's when the unexpected guests rolled in. A truck, packed with a bunch of men, rumbled up the hill. They engaged in a conversation with my mom, and back then, nothing struck me as suspicious. Just some fellow campers, I thought. Little did I know the tranquility of that hilltop was about to be shattered in the dark hours. As the night deepened, a sudden awakening jolted me from my sleep. My mom was sitting bolt upright in the tent, her gasp echoing in the stillness. My instincts kicked in and I stirred awake, prompting her to cover my mouth, cutting off my question about what was going on. Silence enveloped us like a heavy blanket, and then there it was, footsteps, unmistakably close, right beside our tent. Even the little flap guarding the zipper began to twitch, sending shivers down our spines. Thankfully, my mom, a true heroine in the making, didn't waste a moment. In a booming voice that sliced through the night, she exclaimed, "Kenny, grab the gun." Now, just to clarify, Kenny is my dad, but let me emphasize, he wasn't there. It was just us girls facing an unseen threat in the heart of the night. The intruders, perhaps startled by the unexpected call, swiftly made their exit. We were left in the eerie aftermath, adrenaline pumping through our veins. Miraculously, no harm came to us that night. And as we sat there, under the canvas of stars, we couldn't help but thank the heavens for the quick thinking and courage of my mama, who turned a potential nightmare into just another story to tell around the campfire.